Hashtag AskOGman, what type of food should I eat and also avoid if I have digestive problems on a vegan diet such as SIBO or Candida? Great question, let's get to it, roll the titles. Welcome back, it's good to see you all again. If we haven't met before, then hi, I'm Goji Man. I'm currently studying for a Masters in Nutrition and qualifying as a nutritionist, and next year I'll be studying for a PhD in nutritional science. I make vegan health and nutrition videos every other day in which I answer your health questions under the hashtag AskGojiMan. So if you have a question for me, then hashtag AskGojiMan in the comments below. Now, as I've said repeatedly on this channel, the fact that you are reacting to certain foods isn't necessarily an indication that these foods are bad for you per se, unless you have a certain allergy. It is more an indication that your gut function and health isn't what it should be. So what we do before making any dietary changes is that we test the gut and your overall metabolic panel. Now, depending on your symptoms, you will need to take either a stool test, an organic acids test, or a SIBO test, or a combination of all three. And the test that you opt for will be down to the conversation that you have with either your functional doctor or naturopath. Now, before I jump into the foods that you should eat and also the foods that you should avoid when you have your test results, let me quickly run through the tests and explain what they are and why they are so important. Now, all three tests have their limitations and strengths. That is why I always recommend in taking them together. So for example, if you have a yeast issue, depending on where the yeast is located in your gut, a stool test may or may not pick this up. This false negative would, however, be picked up by your organic acids test that would show high levels of arabinose, which is a metabolic byproduct of yeast. So the comprehensive stool test will look at your digestion and absorption, your gut immunology, the metabolic aspects of your gut, and also its microbiology. So essentially what good and bad bacteria you have present in your gut. Now, if you do have a lot of gas, bloating, cramping and digestive issues, then you should absolutely take the stool test in conjunction with the SIBO test, which stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So essentially you should have minimal bacteria in your small intestines. So if bacteria do colonise your small intestines, then you are likely to get IBS and all of its symptoms, such as gas and bloating, food intolerances, constipation and also diarrhea. You are also likely to suffer with fat malabsorption, nutritional deficiencies and leaky gut. So basically the small intestines is where you are supposed to absorb the nutrients from your food. When you have SIBO, the bacteria eat the nutrients that you should be absorbing and they ferment the carbohydrates, making digestive problems a living nightmare. And the biggest thing to remember is that up to 84% of IBS is caused by SIBO. So if you have IBS, it is essential that you test for SIBO. And this is really simple. You drink a lactulose solution and then you measure the amount of methane and hydrogen in your breath over 3 hours. Humans can't digest lactulose, so it should go out through your bowels, but when you have SIBO, the bacteria metabolize the lactulose and produce a lot of methane and or hydrogen. And the final test, the organic acids test, is the cherry on the cake in terms of pinpointing where your health issues are coming from. So organic acids are essentially compounds that you excrete in your urine that will tell you if your gut flora is in check, whether your body is breaking down oxalates correctly, whether your mitochondria are producing energy correctly, and even whether your neurotransmitters are firing correctly. But it doesn't just stop there. The organic acids test provides you with data on about 80 or so different metabolic processes in your body. So when you combine all three of these tests, you get an unbelievable snapshot of what's working and also what's not working in your body. So now let's jump into some of the dietary changes that would need to happen based on the test results that you receive. Now, if you have digestive issues, which are either severe or moderate, which is being driven by SIBO, then you would generally jump on what's called a low FODMAP diet for a period of time while you kill off the bacteria with either antibiotics or herbal antibiotics. Now, FODMAP stands for fermentable oligosaccharide, disaccharide and polyols. So essentially you eat foods that are low in FODMAP while you are killing off the bacteria, as these type of foods won't feed the bacteria and ferment in the gut. Now, some examples of high FODMAP foods can be seen on the screen right now. And some examples of low FODMAP foods can be seen here. And you can also Google FODMAP diet for a comprehensive list of different foods. Now, I would personally always opt for herbal antibiotics, as these have been proven to be as effective as pharmaceutical antibiotics, but for some, their conditions may be so severe that they have no other options than to use antibiotics like rifaximin. And rifaximin is an antibiotic that is a lot safer than other antibiotics, as it only operates in the gut and it doesn't get absorbed in the body. Now, if you have bad SIBO, it can literally ruin your life, cause all manner of different symptoms, and then even transition into other diseases such as autoimmune issues, so it is really important that you get rid of it as quickly as possible. Now, the problem with SIBO and other gut imbalances is that you will usually develop food intolerances. So typically you will see people reacting to more and more foods, and as a result people restrict their diets more and more to control their symptoms. So this will usually be confirmed on the organic acids test, so you may see high numbers on your oxalates, salicylates, etc. All this means is that your bacteria and gut enzymes aren't breaking down the oxalates, salicylates, histamine, sulfur and other chemicals properly, and they are literally building up in your system. And if this is the case, then you can get all manner of problems from anxiety and depression, cardiac problems, brain fog, digestive issues and skin issues, to name a few. So if you've watched my channel for any period of time, you will know I had a massive reaction to an antibiotic that led me down a path of discovering all of this. I lost the ability to digest foods properly and I was getting severe oxalate, histamine and salicylate buildups in my body. Now, if you've watched Jordan Peterson's interview on Joe Rogan's podcast, you will get an idea of how bad these reactions can get. For me, a smallish piece of dark chocolate could put me in bed for around 10 days with irregular heartbeats. Now, many of these ex-vegans with digestive problems all have these SIBO, oxalate, histamine type issues. And because their reactions in many cases are so severe, many feel incredible on meat-only diets, but these reliefs are usually short-lived. As in my case, and also Vegetable Police, you will simply react to more and more foods because you haven't fixed the underlying gut problems. So if you know any vegans with digestive issues in conjunction with depression and anxiety, skin issues and fatigue, point them in the direction of my videos, because if they don't resolve these SIBO and other gut issues quickly, well then their health conditions will simply get worse and worse. Now, if you do have SIBO with oxalate, histamine and salicylate type issues, then you have a number of different options. First, you could go on a low FODMAP diet and then look at the organic acids test to see what compounds are problematic for you. So if you have very high oxalates and SIBO, then you need to go on a low FODMAP and also low oxalate diet. Now, be warned, these type of diets can be very restrictive, but they are only for short periods of time while you fix and heal the gut. And you have to know what you are doing, because let's say for example you have SIBO and histamine issues. If you were to take a probiotic because you were having digestive issues, then you could potentially make yourself very ill. You already have an overgrowth of bacteria, and then you throw more bacteria on the small intestines, making your symptoms worse and worse. And to compound the issue further, probiotics are high in histamines, so with a high histamine problem already, you are simply creating more of a problem. Now, I promise you all, these type of tests and problems will become well known and widely tested for in the next 5 years or so. Now, because of the speed at which science operates, many are not aware that these problems even exist, and these type of issues are driving their health problems. Especially some of these ex-vegans who are forced into meat-only type diets because their reactions while eating fruits and vegetables are so bad. And remember, these issues can normally be resolved, so you get rid of the gut dysbiosis and bacteria, you restrict certain foods while you are doing this, you heal the gut up, and then you normally find that you get a full resolution of all your other symptoms. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, keep the questions coming. If you have a question for me, then hashtag AskGojiMan in the comments below. You can also send me your video questions through to contact@gojimannutrition.com. And as always, remember to look after your body, because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.